Walaikum assalam, sir.
Continuation of organic chemistry. Organic chemistry introduction. Yesterday, just a quick revision. We started hydrocarbon. A hydrocarbon means a compound which contain carbon and hydrogen only. So we call them as hydrocarbon. And hydrocarbons are divided into three main classes: alkane, alkene, and alkyne. Alkane means within the structure, if between the carbon, there's a carbon atoms, there's a single bond throughout the structure. Between the carbon atom, we call them as alkane. If throughout the structure, they have a double bond, we call them as alkene. And throughout the structure, if there is a triple bond, it is not necessary that all of them should have a triple bond. It means within the structure, if we find a triple bond, it means it is alkyne. If it's an alkane, the name should end at ane. If it's an alkene, the name should end at ene. And if it's an alkyne, the name should end at yne. This is about the hydrocarbon. So hydrocarbon can be alkane, alkene, or alkyne. And the name of hydrocarbon, depending on number of the carbon atoms present. If one carbon is there, math, two are there, at, three are there, prop, and so on up to 10 you have to learn. Then we started the structure of the organic compound. The structure of the organic compound, what is the structure of these organic compounds can be divided into three classes. It can be divided into more classes, but for your course outline, you should understand only three of them. You should understand straight chain, branched, cyclic. So the structure of the organic compound can be straight chain, it can be branched, or it can be cyclic. Straight chain, it means it will have two ends. Branch means it will have more than two ends. And cyclic means there is no end for the structure. Like you cannot identify the starting and the ending point. So example, if I write CH3, CH2, CH3. So you can see if I start from here, if I start numbering from here, right hand side, I will end at this point. So how many ends are there? Only two ends, because there are only, I can, like, this is the first, right hand side is the first end and the left hand side is the second end. But if there are multiple or more than two ends, like example, you have CH3, CH2, CH, CH3, CH2, CH3. So how many ends are there for this structure? This is one end. This one is a second end and this one is a third end. So you can see three ends are there. If more than two ends, what we call that as a branched structure. And cyclic means if there is no end. Like example, if I draw CH2, 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 and then link. So there's a cycle, like there's a loop or a cycle with no end. So what we call this type of structure, we call this type of structure as cyclic structure. So you have to learn the naming only for alkanes, mainly for alkanes and normal alkenes. So first we will start with straight chain alkanes. Straight chain alkanes means it will have two ends. If I write CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. As you can see, there are only two ends. This one is first and second. For straight chain alkane, there's a simple way. What we will do, the rule is count the number of carbon atoms and use the prefix. Prefix means the word which we'll use before. That's prefix. So how many carbon atoms are there? 4 carbon atoms. So for 4 carbon atom, what we'll say? What is the prefix used if the organic structure contains 4 carbon atoms? So for 4 carbon atom, we say but. And the second thing, because of a single bond, if there's a single bond, we will use, the name should end at ane. So this is but because of 4 carbon atoms, and ane because of single bond. So it is butane. Same way, if I draw CH3, CH2, 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 and CH3. Is this a straight chain or a branched? A straight chain or a branch? So this is a straight chain. Why this is a straight chain? Because look how you will identify the ends. CH3 is there, so this is one end. Now you're counting, you're moving. So when you complete the loop, you finish at this point. So only two ends are there. This is not the end, because I can draw this part next to this. So that's also same CH3. Or what I can do, I can draw up as well. Means if we have one passage, one way to move within the structure, we call that as straight chain. So this is a straight chain which is having only two ends. Now, how to name this? What is the rule? Count the number of carbon atoms and use the prefix. How many carbon atoms are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 5, what I will say? The prefix. It will be pent. So for 5 carbon atoms, it is pent. Within the structure, throughout the chain, we have a single bond, so it will be ane. So this is the structure of pentane. What is the molecular formula of butane? Molecular formula of butane. For the first one, butane. The second one is C5H12. The first one was C4 and H10. And what is the empirical formula? The simplest ratio? it is 4 and 10. So when we take a simplest ratio, because it is 4 and 10, so we'll divide by a common factor. Common factors both are divisible by 2, so that's why we'll divide both. So this will be 2 and this will be 5. So empirical formula is C2H5. And the molecular formula of pentane, it is C5H12. And what is the empirical formula? Sorry, C5H12 is there. By mistake, I wrote 10 here. 5 and 12 cannot be further simplified. It is the simplest ratio. So its empirical formula will be same as molecular formula. Is it clear? This how to name the straight chain alkanes. Copy this, draw the structure. Yeah, done. So I will move on. Finish drawing the structures. Now, if you want to name this structure, you have CH3, CH2, 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 and CH3. So first thing, is it a straight chain or a branched? What kind of structure is this? A straight chain or a branched? So this is a straight chain. Why it's a straight chain? Because in a straight chain, you have like only one passage or one way to move within the structure. Like if I start from here, I will move within the structure and then I will end at this point. So how many ends are there? The starting point is one end and the finish or the end point is another. So only two ends are there. When two ends, we call that as a straight chain. Now, what is the name of this compound? How many carbon atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 5, what prefix we use? So it is spent because of 5, and because there's a single bond throughout the chain, so what we call them as ane. So it is spent ane. What is the name of this compound? Which is having 2 ends. Propane. Why propane? Because prop means 3 carbon, because we count the number of the carbon and use a prefix according to the number of the carbon. So prop, and between them there's a single bond, so we call them as ane. So it is prop because of 3 bonds, 3 carbon atoms, and ane because there's a single bond throughout the structure. So this is how we name the straight chain alkanes. The first one, we started straight chain alkane. Now branched alkanes. Branch alkane means it will have more than 2 ends. Now, what is the rule? How you will name these? The rule is, number 1, select the longest carbon chain. That is first rule. Then number the carbon atoms from nearest branch. Select the longest carbon chain, the carbon which is not included in the chain, in the longest chain is referred to branch. Then number the carbon atom from the nearest branch, and then name the branch first, state the position of the branch. Then name the branch with YL, and then name the chain. I will explain these all points. So example, if a question is, you have a structure, say you have CH3, CH2, CH3, this is CH. How I know? Because whether it is CH3 or CH2 or CH, it depends on number of the bonds the carbon formed. Because this carbon already forms 3 bonds, so only 1 hydrogen will be there. So CH2, CH2, CH3. Now, what is the rule of naming this branch and how we identify it is a branch? You can see this is one end, this is the second end, and this one is the third end. So if 3 ends are there, what we call them as branch, like branch structure. Now, first what we do, the first rule, the first point of the rule, select the longest carbon chain. So if I select the longest, I can select like from one end to another, I have to select the longest carbon chain. So how I can select? I can select in this manner. So how many carbons are included if I select from one end to another? Only 4 carbon. But if I select from left to right or right to left, how many carbons are included? 6 carbon. And if I select from right to top, how many carbons are included? 5. So which one is the longest? So this one is the longest chain. So right to left or left to right is the longest chain. So we will select this our longest chain. Is it clear? The first point, select the longest carbon chain, and the carbon which is not included in the chain is refers to branch. So this carbon is not included in the chain. So what we call this carbon? This carbon is a branch. So what is outside the chain which you select is refers to the branch. So we completed the first rule, the first point, that select the longest carbon chain, and what is not included in the chain is refers to branch. Then number the carbon atoms from nearest branch. So if I number this example, if I start numbering the chain, because we have to number the carbon atoms in the chain. So if I number from here 1, 2, 3, 4. So means the fourth carbon is having a branch. If I number from right hand side, if I number from left hand side 1, 2, 3. So third position I have a branch. So which position I should follow? Which numbering I should follow? Left to right or right to left? So I should follow the numbering from left to right. So we should follow the numbering from left to right. Why? Because when I count from left to right, the branch is coming at 3. When I count from right to left, the branch is coming at 4. Now, state the position of the branch. Which position we have a branch? We follow numbering from left to right. So when we follow numbering from left to right, so we will not include it, because the numbering should start from a nearest branch. So that when I count from right to left, the numbering is the branch is at 4th carbon. When I count from left to right, the branch is with 3rd carbon. So 3rd carbon, it means it is closer. So I will follow numbering from left to right. Now state the position of the branch. Which position I have a branch? At 3rd position. So I will write 3. Then name the branch with YL. How many carbon atoms are there in a branch? In a branch alone, how many carbon atoms are there? There's only one carbon atom. So for one carbon atom, what we call, what is the prefix used for one carbon atom? It is meth. So for one carbon atom, it is meth. So meth is for one carbon atom, and whenever there is a branch, the name should have YL. So it will be 3 methyl. Meth because one carbon, and because of the branch, it should be YL. So it is 3 methyl. It means 3rd position, we have a branch which contain one carbon atom. Now, then we will name the chain. How many carbon atoms are there in a chain? So 6 carbon atoms. What is the prefix used for 6 carbon atoms? So it will be hex. For 6 carbon atoms, it is hex. And what is the bond between the carbon atoms? Throughout the chain, what kind of bond? Double, triple, single? So it is a single bond. So we call that as ane. So the name of this compound, is 3-methyl hexane. 3 is a position of the branch. 3 is the position of the branch. Meth is how many carbon atoms in the branch? YL because it is a branch, and hex because there are 6 carbon atoms. That's why it is hex. And ane because they have a single bond. That's why it is ane. So 3 is the position of the branch. Meth is for number of the carbon atoms in the branch. YL because it is branch. Whenever you have a branch, the name should always have YL. Hex because of 6 carbon in the chain. And ane because they have a single bond. So single bond is there throughout the structure. That's why it is ane. So 3-methyl hexane is the name of this structure. How we will get the position of the branch? So to get the position of a branch, we will number the carbon in the chain which we select, the longest chain. So if I count the carbon atoms from right hand side, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I count from right hand side, there are 6 carbon atoms, and fourth position we have a branch. But if I number from left hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 carbon atoms, and the branch is at third position. So we will always follow the numbering where the branch is closer, like a small number. So which position, which numbering will make the branch closer, right to left or left to right? So in this case, it is from left to right. So we will not follow both numberings. We will only follow a numbering in which the branch is closer. So we'll follow, in this case, we'll follow a numbering from left to right. So third position, we have a branch, and the branch contains 1 carbon. That's why it is meth. Because it's a branch, so it will always be YL, so methyl. There are 6 carbon atoms in the main structure, so that's why it is hex. And within the structure, there's a single bond. It is ane. So it is 3-methyl hexane. Is it clear? Any doubt in this?
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, the longest chain is always horizontal, right?
No, not necessary. But in O level, you will not find it complicated. Normally, it will be the horizontal one, but it is not like a fix that always horizontal is the longest.
So I should not assume the longest chain is always horizontal, like I should still like count.
For O levels, you don't find a very difficult structure, so you can consider for O levels, you can consider the horizontal one will be the longest. But as you will study in A levels, you will find it's not that always horizontal. It can be like from left to top, or it can be right to top. It can be any way. Like it's not a fix that always horizontal is the longest. But
But for
for
like O levels,
yes, you can
there.
consider most of the time, like they will not give you complicated structures, and so that's why it will not be an issue. You don't have complicated structures in O level. But the reason why I'm saying it's like if you consider this as a rule, then you will find difficult in A levels to name these organic compounds.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Finish writing this. Finish done copying. You can use the chat, or you can also use your mic if you have any question. It's up to you. What is convenient, you can use that. Another structure. So we are naming the branched alkanes. So example, we have CH3, CH, CH3, CH2, CH3. Now, first thing, what we have to do, the rule is first we will mark the end. So how many ends are there? This is one end, second, and third. So if it's having three ends, means it is a branched. Now, what we will do, the first rule is select the longest carbon chain. So when I try to select the longest carbon chain, if I from one end to another, basically you have to count from one end to another. So this is from left to right or right to left, there are 4 carbon atoms. But if I count from left to bottom, there are 3 carbon atoms. And if I count from right to bottom, there are 4 carbon atoms. So you can see there are 4 carbon atoms from right to bottom, and there are 4 carbon atoms from left to right or right to left. So both cases maximum number is 4. So it's up to you. Any way you can select, you will get the same answer. It will not make difference to the answer. So I will draw the structure again, because I want to show, like, if you select the longest chain anyway, the final answer will not be different. You will get the same final answer. So I'm drawing the same structure again, but first structure I'm selecting the horizontal as my longest chain, and the second structure I'm selecting from right to bottom as the longest chain. Now, what is left is refers to the branch. So the top structure, first I'll name the top structure. So this one is a branch. Now, what is the rule of naming? First, we select the longest carbon chain. That is done. Number the carbon atom from nearest branch. So if I try to number this, so there are two ways I can number. I can number from right to left. So if I number 1, 2, 3, 4. So third position, I have a branch. But if I number from here 1, 2, 3, 4, right, left to right, the branch was coming, right to left, the branch was coming at 3. Left to right, the branch is coming at 2. So which numbering should I follow? So I should follow from left to right. So only one way you will follow. It's not like you will follow both numberings. You will just erase the one which you are not following. You will just erase. So we are following from left to right. Now the second, so we number the carbon atom. Second point is done. Then state the position of the branch. Which position we have a branch? So second position we have a branch. So I will write 2. How many carbon atoms in the branch? So 1 carbon atom in the branch. So I will call meth, because 1 carbon, and because it is a branch, so I will say YL. So it is 2 methyl. Like second position, I have a branch which contain 1 carbon atom. That's why it is 2 methyl. How many carbon atoms in the chain? 4 carbon. And what is the prefix used for 4 carbon atoms? So we will use but. And because throughout the chain there is a single bond, So it is ane. So it is 2-methyl butane. Second position, we have a methyl group, and but because there are 4 carbon atoms, and ane is because they have a single bond throughout the structure. Is it clear, this example? The name. Same way, the same structure is there, but I'm giving you just an idea that if you select the longest chain, like, because when we select the horizontal longest chain, and if I select a chain from right to bottom, and both are having the equal number of the carbon atoms, so in that case, the name will be same. It will not make difference to the name. So example, if I count from here, from right to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So third position, I have a branch. But if I count from bottom to right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So second position, I have a branch. So which numbering I should follow? I should follow a numbering where the branch is closer. So I should follow from bottom to right. So again, you can see this is the what is left. What is not included in the structure is refers to the branch. How many carbon atoms are there in the branch? The second example, we select the longest chain from bottom to right. So if I number the carbon atoms, there are 2 ways to number this carbon atom. I can start numbering from right hand side. So 1, 2, 3. So third position, I have a branch attached. Yeah, I can start a numbering from bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So second position, I have a branch attached. So which numbering I should follow where the branch is closer? So this is a branch. So the second position, we have a branch. That is why it is 2, 1 carbon in the branch. So that is why it is meth. And it's a branch, so why else? So 2-methyl. And 4 carbon in the chain, which we select as the longest. So it is butane. So you can see I can select both ways. When the maximum number of the carbon atoms are same, we will get the same answer. It will not make difference to the answer. Is it clear? The 2 examples, the same structure I drew, but the first structure I select the horizontal one as my longest chain, and the second one I select the from bottom to right or right to bottom as my longest chain. But because both of these longest chain having a 4 carbon atoms, so it will not make difference to the name. So this is how we name branched alkanes. Draw these structures, copy the structures. Better draw both of them so you can recall the idea when you revise this organic chemistry, that the naming, if you select the longest chain from any way, you will get the same answer.